Hi, everybody, and welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. You're in the 2-minute pre-show launch here on our Google Hangouts video page, our live streaming video page. We're going to be talking about augmented reality tonight with limitless computing in the first hour. Very interesting. Just on the heels of that news story that Ben and I did last night, where they had the little elephant inside somebody's hands when he opened it up. That was kind of cool. Maybe we'll find out more about that. And of course, in hour two, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We'll be starting in about a minute.
Your time.
There it is, 1 minute. Hmm. 20 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers, heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is Thursday here on the Computer America Show. And welcome into our Thursday edition show. Got a great program planned for you tonight. In the second hour, of course, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And in this first hour, we're going to be exploring the virtual world of augmented reality. Yeah, we wish to have some spooky music or something behind that.
As if reality wasn't spooky enough.
Yeah, exactly, augmented. Well, we're going to be talking about that with Limitless Computing, our guest in the first hour. So, as usual, just if you have a comment or a question about anything we're talking about tonight, with our guests or during the news or whatever, comment, suggestion, give us a call, 347-884-8881. I'll get you through. That's 347-884-8881. Okay, you can also send us an email. We have a special email inbox set up when we're live and on the air. It is live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. You can also join us in our live interactive IRC chat room. And the way that works is you just go to our homepage at computeramerica.com, and you'll see it says right in the middle there, it says interact with the show. The first button is chat and live video. Click that button, and you'll see the on the left-hand side of that page, the live IRC chat room. It asks you to put in a nickname. That's the name you'll be known by when you go into the chat room. There's also a CAPTCHA authentication code, which is usually a number, 3 or 4 digit number, or a couple of words. That just certifies that you are a live human being as opposed to a dead bot, okay, robot. If you want to make sure that you are a live person, and that does that, click the connect button, and your browser will move you into our Computer America chat room. It's very lively in there. I'd love to have you in there. Also, for those of you, there's another button. If you enjoy the chat room and you want to make it more visually pleasing, put it in its own window, separate from your browser. You can download any of those depending upon the platform you're using in the browser. It takes you to our free software page, and on the bottom there you'll see all the different IRC clients. There's Chatzilla, there's IRC Chat. There's a number of them. Just pick one that fits, and then you can install it. It's a plugin, and then you'll be able to look at the chat room in a whole new light. But it's completely optional. You can do whatever you want. And then sharing that same page is our live Computer America video streaming page. There you can not only listen to the show, you can actually watch the show. That's right, you can actually see myself, my co-host Ben. Sometimes you can see our guests, as you will be able to see tonight. Yes, Limitless Computing. You can watch everything. And those videos, it's live. However, we also archive those on our YouTube video streaming page. You just click the archives button, so you can time shift it. If you want to watch the show and listen to the show, you can do that. So all kinds of options available to you at computeramerica.com. We bring all of these things to you. So anything else you want to mention before we get started, Ben?
Something that might affect your travel plans.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, because of the whole Ebola thing, and a lot of places are closing down travel. Turns out that North Korea is shutting down all tourism, so they don't get infected. So,
well, and I guess they can do that. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds pretty controlling, but I guess they want to make sure that nobody gets it.
It's kind of what North Korea is known for, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
They're booming tourism.
Yes, exactly. When I think of a garden, a vacation spot, North Korea does not spring to mind.
Really?
No, it doesn't. Other places. I
mean, there are worse places.
Yeah, I mean Cuba.
Normally, I would say Detroit, but we had someone on from Detroit, so I can't say that anymore. But I mean, Yeah, so North Korea, if it's on your to-do list, and recently, no.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you catch me dead going there. So I don't, let alone alive. But that's another story. All right. Well, thank you for that little tidbit of information. And Ben finds these things as he's digging for news stories for our second.
You always ask, and I always say nothing. So I figured this time I'd give you something.
You were prepared. That's nice. You caught me off guard. All right. Well, and also we're going to talk a little bit later in the second hour of the show. There's a new version of iTunes out, and some of the new iOS 8.1 for your iPhone. We'll talk about some of the new features there, and then we'll talk a little bit about Apple's keynote, which was this past Tuesday, about some of the new products. So that's all coming up in hour 2. But right now, let's talk about augmented reality. And our guest this hour is from Limitless Computing. With augmented reality capabilities, users can walk through digitally created spaces superimposed on a real world. You can view models prior to construction, furniture before placement, that's kind of, or see any work in reality, but it's not reality, but it's sort of augmented reality. I like the things that I've seen, these augmented reality things where you can look at a phone and you're using the camera in your phone, you see the street, but then little things pop up, like information about what this door leads to or what this restaurant, and you can see additional information sort of superimposed over what it is that you're looking. Very, very. Joining us to explain further is Jeffrey Franklin. Jeff is the Vice President of Limitless Computing. Jeff, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Craig.
Our pleasure. So since we're kind of focusing or starting off with augmented reality, I kind of basically described it, but why don't you, because you're doing this professionally, you're doing it for a living, you have a company, why don't you talk a little bit about what you about augmented reality is and what it is, how it works, that type of thing.
Well, you certainly. We define augmented reality as overlaying any type of digital information onto the real world. So your examples of using things like a model, a 3D model, any type of additional information, you can overlay it onto the real world, see it as you move the device. You can kind of see how it would look in place. We'd use it to overlay like a building, see it where it would be before it's actually constructed. We can use it for interior designers. They can show a client what a kitchen remodel would look like before it's actually built and go through different options.
Now, is it sort of like, Is it sort of like a heads-up display? I mean, you're looking through something and you're seeing something, but you're seeing additional information about what it is that you're looking. Is that a fair analogy, or is it more complex?
Yes, exactly. We overlay the information onto the device camera. So you have your normal device camera feed, and then you would see the additional information on top of it. You know, be that a building, be it furniture, be it, you know, we actually have a more consumer-oriented app where we can send little augmented reality GIFs that have little animations displayed onto the real world. So you could have a picture of yourself holding your little virtual augmented reality present.
Ah, okay. So then why don't you kind of describe the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality, which has been a lot with the Oculus Rift and things like that. So what are the differences? It must be, I'm sure they're subtle, but why don't you explain to our listeners what the differences are?
Well, the key difference is that augmented reality takes some information from the real world, be it a camera feed, a photo, some type of real world information, and then overlays additional information on top of it. Virtual reality creates the entire environment from scratch. So in Oculus Rift, you have the little goggles on and you're looking around, and everything you see is created for you by the computer. There's no, you know, camera on it giving you information that you're actually looking at in your physical environment around you. And that, I think, is the key difference and one of the real differences between augmented reality and virtual reality.
Okay, all right. So basically, when you're wearing the Oculus Rift or any kind of virtual goggles, you're completely cut off from the actual world. You're not seeing anything through it. Everything that you're seeing, the images are all generated. They're being generated. It could be an artificial world, whatever it might be. It is as it says, a virtual reality or an alternative reality. You're not actually looking at the real world, whereas with augmented reality, those glasses should really be clear, I guess, and you see through them and you see the room, you see where you are, but just additional things are being placed there that are not actually there. But it's augmenting the reality that you're looking at. Fair enough?
That is very fair enough. And one example of something like that would be like a Google Glass, where you just get the little eyepiece that can show you additional information. Otherwise, your eyes are still seeing the rest of the, you know, reality around you. And the little eyepiece can give you additional information about what you're looking at.
But I guess Google Glass is kind of like a very early form of true augmented reality, because I thought Google Glass just kind of like, you know, if you get a text message, it'll display it. You know, you kind of look up to your right and you can see it. You know, you can see phone calls, app, you know, reminders, things like that. But it's not actually, you know, scanning the environment around you and then overlaying information, or is it?
Right, it's not scanning the environment as such. What it can do is it can use your GPS location and say, oh, you're near such and such a place, and you can get information about that place. Maybe they are running a special, they have a coupon or something along those lines. You know, if you install the right app for doing that, you can get that type of location-aware, you know, context about where you actually are.
So in other words, if I'm walking by I don't know, a restaurant, something might pop up and say, oh, you know, they've got a buy one get one free at this restaurant. You know, you buy a steak, you get a steak for free, or half off price at lunch being offered at this restaurant. And so it's more informational, really. It's not really changing the what you're looking at. It's just giving you additional information about where you are. You know, I have an iPhone that does that, something called Keyring, which is nice. And I was first time they updated it so it would do that, because normally it's just keeps all my loyalty cards together. But now, when I'm driving by, let's say I go by a PetSmart, all of a sudden I'll hear cha-ching, literally a cash, and I'll go and I'll look at my phone. What is that? And it says, "Oh, you're near PetSmart. You know, they have a really great deal on dog food today. You know, half price off or something." And I went. And I actually, I didn't know that, and I said, so I actually went into the store to take advantage of it, and sure enough, it was correct. So that kind of thing really is not augmented or even virtual reality. That's just more information about, you know, where you are, and I guess Google Glass is very similar in that capacity. I don't even think, and Google Glass can do overlays though, unlike my phone that's in my pocket. Now, I don't know if they're doing augmented reality with Google Glass. I know they're giving you additional information at this point. Not being
That would be listed on Google Glass. I believe that it's possible to get some apps that give you some more information about what you're actually looking at. I don't know any offhand, but I know that we've looked at putting our 3D and AR engine to Google Glass while doing that.
I don't know. Ben, can you talk? And
Yeah, no, that
yeah, Jeffrey, you're getting some severe distortion. I've never heard that before. Can you try talking again? Jeff?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we got some bad connection all of a sudden. Wow.
probably gonna need you to reconnect for a second.
Yeah, we might want you to. Yeah, why don't you log off and then come back in, because for we can barely hear what it is you said. It just started.
All right. I will see you guys in just a second.
Okay. Yeah, got some bad stuff going on there.
Hey, sometimes it happens. Technology isn't perfect, as I'm sure everyone knows, and
Yeah, it does.
that happens.
Yep. But in the meantime, we'll wait for him to come back. But again, I was talking about Keyring. That's the name of it. We've actually had them on the show, and it's a.
You love your loyalty cards.
Yes, I used to have a wallet bulging with them, and now I don't anymore because everything is in my iPhone. The barcodes are in there. It's interesting because for a while I would have my barcode in my iPhone, and they would try to hold it up to the scanner. It would not work. But merchants evidently have caught up, and now it works with the iPhone, so they can actually scan the barcode. Jeff, I see that you're back. Why don't you say something so we can hear you now?
All right.
Yeah,
Is
much
this
better. Much better. Okay, so let's continue on. You started to make a comment, and we didn't hear what you said, so why don't you go back?
Let's see, where was I? I was probably talking about how there are some apps for Google Glass that can give you information about what you're actually looking at using the directional sensors in the phone.
Yeah.
And we've actually looked at those types of application importing our augmented reality engine to Google Glass as well, for the sake of being able to do that. And that's something that we've definitely looked at, and we'd like to hopefully release something that can take advantage of the Google Glass.
Well, now when you say we, obviously we're talking about your company, Limitless Computing, and
Yes.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about the company itself and what it is that you do at Limitless?
Well, the company is actually a very small company. There's two of us full-time, me and my business partner. And so I do most of the technical side of Limitless Computing, all the 3D engine, augmented reality engine, mobile apps, website, everything. My business partner takes care of more of the business side, marketing and messaging, press releases, social media outreach, all that kind of stuff. Video promotions and all that stuff she takes care of. So.
Okay, so now what is it? Now what is it? You have different products at the Limitless Computing. What is it what does Limitless Computing actually do?
So we have several products. Our primary product that's probably most popular is called SiteSpace 3D. It is a tool for architects, interior designers to load a 3D model created in a program called SketchUp. And it can actually load 3D models from other programs like AutoCAD and Revit. And you take the model onto your mobile device, and you can do what we talked about. It will use the geolocation information within the model, and it will use your GPS from your device. So when you look through the device camera, it knows where you are, what direction you're looking, and it will automatically place the model exactly where it belongs on site.
Okay. And these are different products that you have put together. What is your background to do something like this, design things like this?
I have a pretty wide background, but mostly computer science, 3D engines. I've done a lot of work in networking and network administration, network protocols. I've security, encryption, all that kind of stuff. I've had a pretty good career in my 23 years or so I've been doing programming work. So
how did you get started? I mean, you get so many different directions. I know Ben is in his last year in computer science. We talked a little bit about that.
Right.
And so how did you get started in this mobile augmented reality arena? Why did you decide to pick this as opposed to some other field?
Actually, we kind of fell into it. We were doing a lot of cloud work, cloud rendering for architects, which got us plugged into the architect community. And talking with them, they mentioned that they wanted be able to take their 3D models onto their mobile device, which at the time they had no way of doing. And so in doing that, we realized we had the background and tools and expertise to put together a tool for them to do that. And that's really kind of what launched us into this mobile augmented reality concept. We decided we want to go beyond just viewing a 3D model on your device. We decided they should be able to do more with it, and that's where augmented reality came in.
Okay. So, in your opinion, then, and I want to talk more about these products and what they do. And I mean, you name they're basically there. How many? There. How many products do you have? You have three. You have space site products or site space products, or no, actually you have three of those. Okay, and then you have the shader light cloud rendering, and then
Right.
it's called Visar, VYZAR, which is
Visor.
Visor.
It's kind of like Jordy's Visor, but the domain name was taken, so we
I-
wanted AR in the name, so that's where Visor came from.
I had the accent on the wrong syllable. I guess it's right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this, and we'll start off with the site space products first. And I know you have a Site Space 3D. You've got Site Space Pro, and then Site Space View. Why don't you give us an overview? What does the Site Space product actually do?
So the site-based products are tools for the professional architects, interior designers, and it's also used by woodworkers and other people in that industry who need to view 3D models. Site-based 3D is sort of the base level version of that. It allows viewing, augmented reality, and some basic other like notation, photos, etc. within the app. Whereas SiteSpace Pro takes that and goes a little bit more advanced, allowing you to connect external GPS units for a more accurate positioning while you're in augmented reality. It can also generate 2D barcode markers that you can put into the augmented reality scene for a more precise location as well.
Well, let's back up here to the Site Space 3D for Apple and Android. So basically, it looks like when I would first look at this, it looks like something I would do with or see with AutoCAD, a design program. But how are you different than that? What is it that you're actually doing that's different?
Well, the key difference between something like that and AutoCAD is one, it's strictly a viewer. We have very limited editing capabilities, and the big thing that differentiates us is the capability to do augmented reality, where you can overlay the digital model onto the real world at real world scale. You can walk through it, you can resize it, you can scale it, you can position it, you can really see what this model would look like when it's built or actually placed in a specific environment.
Okay, so in other words, let's say I had SiteSpace 3D up and running on my my iPhone, for example, and so I go into a room, let's say, and I take a snapshot with the camera, and then I run your program, and then somehow I can start designing things to overlay the picture of what I'm looking at. Is that the process that I do?
The process would start in your desktop 3D modeling program, your SketchUp, your AutoCAD, your Revit, your ArchiCAD, all those desktop 3D programs. And then once you have your 3D model, then you can load it onto your device via Dropbox, email, copy it through USB.
Right.
You put the model onto your device, and you can open it into SiteSpace 3D. From there, you'll get basic viewing capabilities. You can orbit around the model. You can, if you have it, you can kind of orbit. You can zoom. You can, take a look at your little 3D model that you built.
I see that.
And the thing is, once you go into augmented reality, then you can start to overlay this 3D model onto the real world at real world scale. And when you do that, you can actually look around, move the device around, and see what that 3D model you built on your computer would actually look like in your space.
Now, do you have
your
that?
environment.
I see you have that on your iPad. Do you actually have that on your computer? Because you can just click the screen share and then we'll actually show it to. We would see it more clear. I didn't realize you were going to do that. Otherwise, we would ask you to use screen share.
Right, and it's a little difficult to do on a computer because the computer doesn't have all the sensors that
Okay, I see what's happening.
device has. So as you look around, I'm standing here inside the building, and I can look up and I can look down, and I can really get a feel for what it would be like if I were actually standing here, inside this building.
Right.
I can move around and get a feel for what it would look like from different places.
And that's using the accelerometer in the iPad, or is that actually using the camera in there, or is it using both?
It's using the camera to project the real world, and it's using the accelerometer, the compass, the gyroscope,
right.
All those to determine what direction you're looking, as well as the GPS to position you. Right now, it's not picking up the GPS for me because I'm not physically located near where that model is. So I just tap on the screen and can give it a fake location, and I can adjust it.
No, but you can actually see that, and that's all by using the SiteSpace 3D product.
Right.
After that. And then, as you mentioned, and then if you wanted to add the Pro version, what would that add to what it was we just saw?
The Pro version is an add-on to this. It's actually a subscription add-on. You sign in with your Pro account, and you unlock all those some additional features within the same application. And those features include being able to connect an external GPS unit, so you can get a more accurate position if you're on site. Sometimes these devices, their GPS accuracy can be a little off. So being able to connect a high-resolution antenna is definitely good, as well as it lets you create 2D barcodes that you could place in the scene that has location information about it to more accurately position you. So what you get with Pro is more accurate positioning, as well as some additional capabilities within the app, just little features here and there that we think help make the experience better.
Okay. And then you can also, it looks to me like you can add like Q codes, looks like.
Right, yep, the QR codes.
QR codes, yeah.
So that's what we use for our 2D barcode markers, is a QR code that allows us to encode information within the QR code about where the QR code represents. So you can choose how the model gets displayed on that QR code.
And if I want to share what I'm saying with colleagues, you can also send the annotations in PDF with the Pro version.
Yep. You can send annotations in PDF. You can also snap photos while you're within the app, of course, if you want to just show a client what it will look like, or if you want to show it off in some other way.
Okay. So that is your the first one, which is the SpaceSite 3D product. They also have the SpaceSite View. What is SpaceSite View? I'm sorry.
So SiteSpace View is it's fine. SiteSpace View is for what we call, you might want to broadcast or share a model with lots of people or the public. And what it does is, from within the 3D modeling program called SketchUp, you click a button, it uploads your 3D model to our service and generates a QR code for you. And when you scan that QR code with SiteSpace View, it downloads the model and overlays the model onto the QR code, so you can see what it would look like before it's built, or just to give the person with the QR code an augmented reality experience. You can use this for, say, apartments being constructed. Any pedestrian walking by could scan the QR code that's hanging on the side of the building and get this app and see what the building would look like when the final construction, as well as a link to a website to get more information about the project.
Now, you've been in business for how long?
We've been in business since 2006.
So you have a lot of clients using your software?
Oh yeah, we have over 150,000 downloads.
Wow. Okay. At a dollar a pop, let me see. That would be. So that's really good. And of course, depending what version you get, and we'll talk a little bit more pricing. Well, why don't you do that? Tell us how much do these things cost? What if you start off with Site Space? What is it with Site Space 3D? What does that sell for?
The SiteSpace 3D is $40 right now on the App Store and on Android, as well as on Amazon as well for your Kindle Fire or Kindle phone. So,
SiteSpace Pro.
SiteSpace Pro is a monthly subscription for $39.99 a month, and that unlocks all the more pro advanced capabilities for people more in the construction industry or people who need really accurate positioning and a really accurate augmented reality experience.
Can you give us an example of who would be using SiteSpace Pro? I mean, when somebody name a client or two, and kind of give us how they're actually it.
So they're using it by going out to a site. They have a 3D model and they have what's actually built, and with the very accurate position, they can quickly visually compare the differences between the 3D model, we call the design, and then what was actually constructed, the as-built, and instantly resolve any discrepancies without necessarily having to pull out a measuring tape or a total station and actually measure it specifically. They can quickly get information about any errors during construction and reduce miscommunications between.
That is very cool. All right, listen, music means we're at the bottom of the hour and we have to take a break, and we'll continue on. All right, we are talking to Jeff Franklin, who is the Vice President of Limitless Computing. We're talking about augmented reality. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. We will be right back. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No Hair Removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No Hair Removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect day and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hiya kids, hiya. This is Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America this time. The Axel DVLCD28 peephole cam. Now who's that knocking at the door? Some doors have windows, so you can see through that glass, but that glass tends to compromise personal safety and security. That's why many doors in apartments, some houses, some offices have peepholes, where the glass is much smaller. It's really hard for anybody outside to see anything inside. but a lens can give occupants some idea of what waits without. We got in an alternative for review, the Excel, that's ACCELE, DV-LCD28 peephole cam. The piece on the outside of the door that's just a lens in most peepholes is a video camera lens with this gizmo. A wire feeds through to the electronics pod, which goes on the inside of the door. The pod mounts there, so when that knock comes, you just push its power switch for a 10-second view on its color LCD screen, all powered by a pair of AAA cells. Assembly is easy, operation even easier. Bottom line, the Excel DV-LCD28 peephole cam makes callers easier to see and ID at the door. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with a News Tip Bulletin Review. And by the way, that opening, I think that might have been a bit too creepy for Halloween week. But the week before, I think we're okay.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have a new one because we have 2 new ones every week, so we'll get 2 new ones next week.
Very true, very true. So yeah, we'll have a new one of those next week. But right now, we have Jeff Franklin here from Limitless Computing, and we're talking about some of his augmented reality apps for devices. And you already said that this was for Kindle Fire, so Amazon Kindle Fire, that kind of thing, Apple devices, and Android.
That's right.
All right, and it's I know next to nothing about what tablets and devices that people in this kind of industry would use. I mean, are you seeing more demand for Android devices? Because I figure Android would probably have some of those, tough built, ready built construction based tablets that are that are shock proof and that kind of thing. Are you seeing more people using this with Android than you are with Apple?
Actually, no. We see a lot more on Apple. I'd say about 85% of our users are on Apple, iPad, or iPhone.
So much for Ben.
Yeah, I that'd be the other way around, because Android seems to have all those nifty devices that are construction, I don't want to say proof, but helpful. You were mentioning that inside the app, I just had it right here. 1 second. SiteSpace Pro. I mean, how would that be more useful than someone with like a blueprint? Is it kind of taking the place of a blueprint? Do you kind of just scan the room as you're, like, let's say you're building a room? Do you kind of just scan the room as you go, and it says, oh, look, you built a door on the wrong side of the wall, and now it's leading out to the second story with no ramp? I mean, like, what good is this, besides like a blueprint?
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to replace blueprints. I don't think they're ever going to really replace those. I mean, maybe augment them or add to them. What do you say?
Well, the goal isn't to completely replace blueprints, but the fewer things you have to carry with you, the better. So if you can get away just walking around the site with your iPad, as opposed to walking around the site actually carrying blueprints under your arm, if you can get away with that, that'd be a lot easier for you to walk a site. Also, if you had to, looking at a blueprint, sometimes the errors are very minor. It's, maybe a sewer line's just in the wrong place, and, looking at the blueprint, you could probably figure it out, but it wouldn't be as instantly obvious that the sewer line or whatnot was put into the wrong place, and you don't want to find that after you've already poured the foundation and started building the interiors, and then realized, oh wait, now things don't line up.
I mean, are we ever going to? I guess it's the paperless office. I mean, are you ever going to be able to pull blueprints out of the cold dead fingers from an architect? I think they're never going to give up blueprints, are they? They're always going to have that. They might do some. Obviously, they're going to do AutoCAD. But I mean, are they ever going to? You think that eventually will replace them completely?
I don't know if it would replace them completely. I think they'll probably still need some type of 2D drawing on site, and that for a lot of people who are used to dealing with 2D drawings, but having an additional full 3D model available to them is definitely a value add for people who can quickly and easily see what's going on.
Well, and as I said, it may be a generational thing. Obviously, as time moves on and new architects are graduating and they're using these tools more, proficiently, maybe we will. I mean, it's like, if you ask people 30 years ago, are newspapers able to go bye-bye, magazines, and now that you can see how they're struggling because everybody's reading the papers online. But there's still the newsstands are out there, but we're seeing a lot of the smaller papers are just folding. Now obviously that's really not a fair comparison because newspapers they work on advertising and you deliver the news with a blueprint. We're not worried about ads here. We're just worried about accuracy and efficiency. So maybe in another 20 years, we may see virtually no blueprints left. It'll all be digital anyway.
Yeah, I think even now, blueprints on site are going to be digital. The big thing we'll probably want to see is or probably some type of electronic blueprint where they can carry a larger format, rollable display that they could roll out and then pick which blueprint they want to look at, as opposed to a 10-inch tablet screen, which would have limited real estate.
Yeah, well, as more and more e-ink devices and as you say, foldable, you can actually roll it out but maybe make the actual changes on when the architect is there and the client says, no, I want to add a room here, I want to move the door over. Instead of having to go back and redo the blueprints, you can have it right there and just modify it.
Oh, even better than that, you could probably zoom in and turn it and twist it, and it'd be a 3D model on a 2D surface.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, and most models now are 3D models anyways. Even if we're looking at a blueprint, it's going to be a 3D model that you're just looking at a 2D version of it.
So tell us about Site Space View. I'm sorry, not Space. The next product, which is the Shader Light Cloud Rendering. You're working with the Site Space product, but this allows you to do what?
So Shader Light Cloud Rendering is a result of a partnership with a company in the UK that creates the renderer for SketchUp, a 3D photorealistic renderer called Shader Light. And at the time we were doing cloud rendering for architects, so they approached us and said, hey, how about we plug in cloud capabilities into our renderer, and that started that partnership there. So we now have a very active relationship with them. We have a very active rendering service for users of Shader Light.
All right. And then tell us about Visor.
So Visor is our core technology. It's our 3D engine. It's our AR engine. It's our all of our what we call our core IP, our core technology that we've developed. We've developed it all in-house. It's all custom. We did all the work ourselves on it, and we do update it regularly to keep up to date with the latest technology on it. So Visor powers SiteSpace and SiteSpace View and SiteSpace Pro. All of that is powered by Visor.
Okay, and that's all part of the products, as you say, when you get it. So So we touched a little bit about it, but why don't you go a little bit more? And given all these different things, and where do you think augmented reality technology is heading? We mentioned Google Glass a little bit, but why don't you kind of expand on that?
So where I think it's heading is I see a lot of technologies on the horizon, like Google Glass, and you may be familiar with Google's Project Tango, which has more of like a depth sensing camera on it. So in addition to taking a picture, now at each pixel or each group of pixels, you get a distance from the camera for that pixel. So you can look at this and say, okay, I'm looking at not just a room, but I can tell my wall is 30 feet away, my foreground is 5 feet away, and you can actually build kind of you get a more 3D aspect of it. And that can help with augmented reality in the sense that now instead of just having a camera image that we're overlaying onto, we can look into that image and see how far things are away, and maybe occlude parts of the 3D model that you're looking at, and more accurately position it on the, like the floor surface. We would know exactly how far it is, where it is, and we can, place things on the floors, on the walls a lot easier.
And widespread adoption of this. Is this something that I mean, I understand engineers and architects, but what about, like me and Ben and the average everyday person using this? Where do you
like maybe for like, could you see this being adopted for do-it-yourself projects?
Oh yeah, do-it-yourself projects. 3D printing is definitely a useful application. If you're doing your own your own woodworking and you're designing something, and you kind of, a lot of times with a woodworking project, you might design it in a 3D modeling program on your computer first and start from there, as opposed to just starting off with a blank piece of wood. You kind of want to have a design to go forward with, and that's something that a lot of people actually use our products right now for. One product we did create for a more consumer-oriented market is a product called Circulizer, and it's a augmented reality gift-giving service. So you can send people little augmented reality presents. We also have we thought it'd be cool to send people weather. So you can send snow or falling confetti and things like that, and it gets projected around you in augmented reality. So that.
Is that sort of like, I mean, maybe like different backdrops, you mean? But this is obviously, it's three-dimensional, so it's in front of you as well as behind you, you're talking about? I know, for example, on Google Hangouts, Ben can click a button and it looks like, he's on the beach, or, the different things that he can do. But that's extremely simplistic and not very accurate, because sometimes you'll see little holes in his face appear from the background.
Right.
Yeah, it's really not that, because it's what it is. But it sounds to me like yours is a lot more sophisticated.
Right. We wanted to create more, virtual environments. So here I can actually see what my room would look like as though it were snowing. We have little snowflakes now falling all around everywhere I look, up and down and whatnot. Now I have that, and I can include a little message and whatnot with it. So I can get myself in the picture. I can snap a photo of it and whatnot, and kind of see what that would look like. I can do all sorts of little presents. We did a let's see if this will show up.
Okay, I see a seahorse.
We have
That's a dragon.
yeah, it's a little dragon, and the dragon actually exist in that space. So as I move the device, the dragon kind of stays sticky to that location. And I can, again, this is a real camera feed. I can be in the background and have a picture of me with the little present. And like I said, you can include a message and whatnot with it. We have lots of little things like that with it.
Augmented reality greeting cards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Augmented reality greeting cards, little gifts like there. Here we have confetti that's just kind of falling around everywhere, and you can swipe through and rotate it and whatnot. So it was a fun little project we did just to kind of preview our stuff, and that's a free app you can download and play with and whatnot. So
I can understand what you do is kind of unique and fun. Why is what you do unique and fun? I mean, I see it, but why don't you tell us?
I think it's unique and fun because, to my knowledge, we're really the only people trying to reach out with augmented reality to all these different types of markets, as well as creating useful applications for, the professionals out there. It's fun to send augmented reality gift cards. It's fun to see yourself with a little present next to you or something, and that's really fun. I mean, that Circulizer project was probably one of the most fun projects that we worked on. But it's also unique that there's now finally real tools for professionals to use augmented reality capabilities as opposed to being somewhat more simplistic or limited. They can, we've had plenty of clients tell us that, oh, we've closed however many deals using your product. One guy claims that he got a job with our product because he was able to show off his designs and really impress his employer. So, I mean, we've had lots of people tell us, all these great stories about how they're using this as an actual useful tool and not just, gee, that looks nice, but what do you do with it? So we think that what we're doing with it is really putting useful tools into people's hands.
Now that product you just mentioned, is that available? Is that something people can purchase, or how does that work?
The Circulizer?
Yeah, the Circulizer.
Yep, Circulizer is available. It's available right now. It's just on Apple, on iOS.
The iTunes store and look for Circulizer.
Yep.
And what does it cost?
It's free. It's just there to really just show off the technology and what it can do and give people a little fun thing to play with. So
it's a virtual toy, That's what makes sense.
Yeah, it's virtual toys and virtual gifts.
Yeah, and it draws attention to your company too. Obviously, I mean, someone will see that and they go, "Wow, that's great!" And then let's see what else they have. It's from Limitless Computing, and it might be an architect.
It could be. It could be an architect. It could be someone who uses one of the millions of people who use SketchUp, which is the 3D modeling program that SiteSpace works with right now. We work with others, but SketchUp is the big one.
Okay, and you do that in a cooperative, or you just how did you set that up? I mean, is that something that you set up with them, or?
We did it independently, but we've been talking with the team, and we have a nice relationship with the SketchUp team. They're also based here in Boulder, so it's their office is actually probably about a 10-minute walk from our office. It's really yeah, it's actually probably longer to drive there than to walk there.
Okay. So, in your own words, who do you think what kind of people would want to use mobile AR tech?
I think mobile AR tech in general will be used by anyone who wants to see any type of digital information overlaid onto the real world, or get some type of additional information from the real world and about things that they're seeing, and that's more of a general who would use this. In terms of specific titles, I think that obviously the architecture, engineering, and construction industry, and building owners is also probably a big component of that, because they deal with 3D structures. They deal with lots of real-world physical things that are under construction or need to be maintained. In terms of real people, or the rest of us who want to use it, more than likely they're the applications will be more fun, like Circulizer. They'll want to not just see a little sticker image on their computer. They're going to want something that's projected into their space as well.
Do you think that anyone in the medical profession would like to use something like this? I mean, they could take a patient, picture and overlay.
Oh yeah, just see how the inside of a patient would look like with Art Deco instead of classic.
No, but I mean, could you? I see something like that, using it either for
you mean like AR in general, or like this?
Just for educational purposes, maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to think some other. Have you thought of other areas other than construction and any other professions?
Medical is one that probably could use AR. The difficulty would be getting it precise enough for the medical profession.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able, and more than likely, you could have an overlay and see exactly, especially for training purposes, see exactly where veins and bones and stuff are.
The only I was thinking about the legal profession. The only thing I can think of is this is what you look like when in front of bars in prison.
There you go.
Maybe that'll be about it. That would,
If you want to see what you look like in a prison jumpsuit, here you go.
did you want black or orange? Just, exactly. Well, again, this is interesting stuff, and Jeff, and I want to thank you so much for being with us here tonight and sharing it. Anything else that we might not have mentioned that you want to tell our listeners about limitless computing?
I think we hit everything. It's important to talk about it, both the professional side as well as the fun consumer side, that everyone can start to experience some augmented reality in their daily lives.
All right, so listen, for our listeners, if you just go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com, it's right there on the home page. You'll see it as interact with the show. Just click the show notes page. You'll see today's show, which is October the 23rd, and you'll see the paragraph in the first hour, and we actually have a link to Limitless Computing there, so you can just go right to the website and check out all the things that they have to offer, and if you find this to be of interest and maybe something that you could use, who knows? You won't know until you check it out. Jeff, I want to thank you for being with us here tonight.
All right, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, Craig. I appreciate it.
And we appreciate you being here. You have a good evening. And
All right,
take care. All right, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, so there you go. Limitless Computing. Again, you can see it at our show notes page at computeramerica.com. That stays up forever, really. If you want more information, you can go to the Limitless website and check it out for yourself. Coming up, we're going to have computer news and stories. Ben, I know you got a couple of them already. I'm just starting to download them now. Anything of interest that you want to kind of tease or mention? What's coming up?
We have a lot of good ones. Let's start with there. But we have a weird one that kind of outlines the possible misuses or the possible uses and misuses of self-driving cars.
Oh, okay.
Because you never really think about, hey, what happens when you finally do get autonomous cars? What can happen in them?
Yes, this is true.
And you can start seeing some of the, seedier sides.
Okay.
Another one is that flu season is upon us.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And I've never heard of the Uber. You ever heard of Uber?
Yes.
It's like Lyft.
Yes, the car service. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the car service. Well, it turns out that Uber is going to start offering flu shots.
Really?
Because who wouldn't want a shot from a stranger in someone else's car?
Okay.
There's more to it than that, though.
I'm sure, and we'll discuss that. Let me just tell you that right now, what I've discovered here, iOS 8.1 became available.
Whoa.
Yes.
No update alert?
What do we want?
No update alert?
Oh, yes, of course. There we go. Update alert. Okay.
Obviously.
All right, we do have an update alert. Thank you for that.
Are you new here?
Yeah. iTunes has just come out. As I said, the new version 12.0.1. And I've been playing with it. Very, very nice additions they've added to it. They changed the menu structure slightly, so if you're used to it, it's going to take a little bit of playing around to make sure that I think the changes are for the better, and I like the way they kind of repositioned some of the things in there. But iOS 8.1, I said, it came out, and this release now includes Apple Pay support for the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. That is actually working now. Also, photos include new features and improvements and fixes. It adds an iCloud photo library as a beta service. It also adds the camera roll album in the Photos app. That is nice. They brought the camera roll back and my photo stream when iCloud photo library is not enabled. And also it provides alerts when running low on space before capturing time-lapse videos. So there's some of the new things that they've added. They've also resolved some issues with Wi-Fi performance that could occur when connected to some base stations. They fixed an issue that can prevent connections to Bluetooth hands-free devices. They also fixed a bug that could cause screen rotation to stop working. That's awkward. They added an option to select between 2G, 3G, or LTE networks for cellular data. That's kind of nice. So you can actually do that manually. If you have a particular plan and you don't want to go to the more expensive one, you can actually do that. Select it. Also, it fixes an issue in Safari where some videos would not play, and they added an AirDrop support for passbook passes. That's nice. Okay. They also added an option to enable dictation and settings for keyboards separate from Siri. And now this was not one. This is actually was the 8.0.1, and I think it discussed it a little bit with David Perry. But now, if I say the words, if I do it, it's gonna come up. And so if I say, "Hey Siri, what time is it?" and it's plugged in, it'll just tell me what time it is, and it's right now on my phone. So, but and it's only when it's plugged in. That's a nice feature. And let's see, of course, obviously some additional bug fixes, and that's all part of 8.1. Then the other thing that is now, they have Yosemite is now available. You can download Yosemite, and it is free. That's right. You don't pay anything for Yosemite. Absolutely free update. So if you have Mavericks, or if you have anything older than that, you can update to Yosemite and get some of that. And the reactions have been mixed. A lot of people love it. It seems like either love it or hate it. I haven't found any intermediate. I don't know what that is.
What's that?
People using Yosemite, the new operating system from Apple.
Yeah, it's I've been kind of avoiding stories about it because they're just kind of like, reviews like, here's the 5 features we like and the 5 features we don't like.
Yeah,
and it seems like a solid operating system. There haven't been any stories like Yosemite will blow up your computer. Do not use it. Like, there haven't been any, alarmist.
And also, the iPad Air 2. It is they've made it even thinner. And the opening and the keynote, they took. Remember the iPad Air? They showed it behind a pencil. And then they would go, and you could see it was actually the pencil thickness was hiding the iPad Air. Well,
and this time they hid it behind an index card.
No, they hid it behind the pencil, but they had a laser beam, and it shaved off the top of the pencil, and it was still hidden behind the pencil. They made
that's goofy.
Yeah, I know, but it was. So this shows.
Oh,
yes.
I got something else I wanted to say, but it really wouldn't fit in anywhere else. The new Marvel trailer for Age of Ultron is out.
Oh, what is that? I heard about that. Is Age of Ultron an animated thing, or is it live actors?
We'll come back after the break to talk about it, but we'll talk about what happened, why it happened, and when it happened, and what it is.
The Age of Ultron. And then also was the Hero 6, too.
Yeah, but that's from Pixar, so.
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah, okay. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. We got another hour of Computer America coming out right away. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And if you missed the first, we had Limitless Computer. You know what? When I say Limitless, I keep thinking of that movie, Limitless.
Yeah, Limitless with Bradley Cooper. And
I thought. Did you see it? I really liked it.
I didn't like the premise.
Did you see it?
No.
You should see it.
I have no doubt that it was a high adrenaline, high octane, fun movie for the family.
No, but it was a very thoughtful picture too. I thought
it wasn't.
Yeah, how could you say that if you didn't see it?
The fact that the premise of it is humans only use 10% of their brain.
Well, now you're thinking about Lucy. I'm
thinking about Limitless.
I know,
That's exactly what Limitless was. Bradley Cooper takes a pill that unlocks the other 90% of his brain, turning him super strong, super fit, super smart, super everything.
Well, no, it's not quite. It's not a superhuman movie. It's not what that's really about it. But it
takes a pill that, unlocks the other 90% of his brain, right?
Yes, it does, but but it's interesting on how what he does and how it acts and how it reacts to it. It's not like something you would say, oh, I'm super smart and I can do this and I can do that, and that's not really what the movie's about. Um, it has a lot of
The
thought.
fact that the premise of it is anything near that just loses me.
All right, well, I enjoyed it. I've watched it a number of times. I think it's very good.
Because guess what the other 90% of your brain does? Keeps you breathing, keeps your blood pumping, keeps all of your you don't think about. It keeps it going.
Now that's the autonomous portion of your brain, but and
yeah,
anyhow.
That's the other 90%.
Anyway, again, thanks to Jeff Franklin for being here from Limitless Computing, talking about reality. And if you missed any portion of that, you can listen to it again. Just go to our archives portion at computeramerica.com. So we were talking a little bit about Apple and what their new Air 2. And
we were about to get into movies, actually.
We were going to get into movies? Okay.
Age of Ultron?
It just... Oh, the Age of Ultron. We're going to do that, but did I tell you it's like 16 millimeters thick. It's 6.1 millimeters thin. It weighs 0.96 of a pound, and it's 18% thinner than the iPad Air. And how they did that was is quite remarkable. They have a newer, faster processor. It's a 2.5 faster processor, times faster than what's in there now. 64-bit architecture, 40% faster CPU, and it has up to 10 hours battery life. So this is like the ultimate. And also, they put Touch ID into it for the first time. So it now has Touch ID. It's a nice-looking tablet. I like the gold one. Matches my gold iPhone. But anyhow, and they also we mentioned that the new iMac. The new iMac is absolutely gorgeous. It's the 5K Retina display, and they actually show you. They compare it to the HD screen, and it's like a little portion of the bottom of the screen. And then the 4K, it's like not even the whole screen. And it's an interesting way to see high resolution this thing is. Amazing computer. It sells for about $2,500, $2,499. So it starts.
Woo, that's a lot for a computer.
I paid that for mine, and on my.
That's a lot for a computer. It's still, the comment still stands.
Yeah, well, it's a heck of a computer. It all works. So that's what's happening over at Apple. You wanted to mention movies. The Marvel's Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm. Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Animated or live actors?
Avengers.
Yes.
Just like all the other Avengers movies, this is the third one in the trilogy.
Ah, okay.
It'll be live action.
Oh, there is going to be a lot of action. When is this coming out?
I don't know. The preview was set to be released next week during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
But something happened where it got leaked that it got leaked out it was going to come out, and it got leaked the actual trailer in very, very low quality. So if you didn't want to wait, you could go out and find this preview, quote unquote, of Age of Ultron.
I'm waiting. I record and watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they promoted the fact that we're going to see the Age of Ultron on that. So I'm just going to wait, and that's coming up.
But so they had the leak, and then they had the low quality leak, and then because the low quality version leaked, their Marvel was just like, well, you know what? Forget it. We're releasing it tonight at 9 p.m. As soon as it hit the mainstream, they're just like, okay, we're just gonna release it. Don't worry about it.
Did they?
So they released the full high quality HD trailer.
And how does it look?
I saw it, and I forget who they casted to play the voice of Ultron, but he nailed it. I mean, he sounds menacing, gruff. They used some of the voice. I don't want to say auto-tune, but they used some of the voice effects on him, and I mean, it has the Hulk, it has Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, has all of them, and of course it looks amazing. It really does.
Are you going to go see it?
Hmm. It looks amazing, and it's if you enjoyed the first two Avengers movies, this one is obviously, no doubt you have to go see it. So
All right. Well, I do enjoy the uh, virtual movies. So
the
exactly.
what?
I enjoy movies, and so I will definitely go see it.
Well, the Avengers, they've been racking in the highest numbers all year. Like every year that there's a new Marvel Avengers movies, it's usually the highest grossing one. So
Well, what do you think about the DC's efforts? Batman versus Superman. That's gonna be.
DC is going to come into their own next year and the year after. I think 2016 is the year that the Dawn of Justice is supposed to be coming out. Because they had Batman versus Superman.
Now, is this an Italian movie? Because having the Dawn of Justice doesn't sound like it's going to be.
No puns, no puns. It's the movie introducing the Justice League, which is, of course, DC's version of Avengers.
The Dawn of Justice. Okay.
It's the Dawn of Justice. So, instead of getting the Avengers, you get Justice League, which, I mean, I saw the animated series that came out in like the early 2000s, and I mean, you got all of your favorites. You got like the Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Aquaman, all of them. So I think in the next 2 or 3 years, DC is going to come into their own. Whereas Marvel's already been in their own. They've had Iron Man, they've had
Spider-Man. Oh.
No, well, Spider-Man, yeah, he's in the universe, but I mean, Spider-Man just keeps getting reboots. He's technically owned by someone else, so he's not part of the series.
Okay.
Not part of the Avengers. But I mean, yeah, DC has a great cast, so.
Yeah, it does. Okay, and we're looking forward to it. Okay, well, I think let's do some computer news and get started. All right.
All right.
Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at the Slimware Utilities website is completely free. It's not a freemium model. They're not crippled in any way, and you have to pay for them after 10 days. None of that. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free, and we suggest that you download all of them, keep them in your toolbox, use them when you need them. You'll be very happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. And why don't you take the first story, Ben?
All right. First story. We are going to go to... Now, this one I found on pretty much every website that I went to, and I got this one from betabeat.com, and it seems like every site, like this just blew everyone's mind. We're going to start out with it. Okay. This one is ELO. ELO. E-L-L-O. It's like Jello, but without the J, so I guess ELO. Takes $5.5 million in venture capital money and signs a legally binding charter to never sell ads or data.
Okay.
So, so since the explosive popularity of ELO, the virtual quote-unquote anti-Facebook social network, they've taken in over 1 million new users with 3 million more on the waiting list. The ELO team has spent the past month racing to finish their beta testing phase, even as thousands of new requests to join come in every hour. Now they finally have a little support. And only about a month after they became one of the fastest growing social networks in history, ELO closed Series A, which they got themselves $5.5 million. Wow. And when it was first discovered that ELO had taken venture capital money, various former fans and members of the media were uproarious. ELO was a social network with a manifesto. How could they possibly maintain their do-good if they eventually had to toe to the bottom line? So last time this was a concern, all ELO could do was make promises. This time they signed legally binding documents that said that they will never sell user data and never run advertisements.
Good for them. But how are they going to make the money to pay the venture capitalists back?
You know, that is yet to be seen. Like, anything I could tell you right now would just be speculation on my part. So let's finish this, then we'll talk about that. The charter that they signed. In America, a for-profit business is obligated to act in the interest of revenue at all times. If a company uses its resources in a way that doesn't protect its bottom line directly, like donating to charity without some sort of marketing campaign attached, the founders can actually be sued by their stakeholders. I didn't know that.
Yeah, evidently.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So the LO team has found a way to escape those pressures once and for all. After aggressively searching for the right legal framework, the founders registered LO in the state of Delaware as a public benefit corporation, of which there are only about 1,140 in the entire country. So, I mean, as far as businesses go, pretty rare.
Yeah.
So, you know, to register, the founders had to drop legal binding, and the founders wrote that LO's explosive growth over the last few months proves that there is a hunger to connect with friends and see beautiful things without being manipulated by ad salesmen, boosted posts, and computer algorithms that don't always have your best interests at heart. On an ad-driven social network, the advertiser is the customer, and you're the product that's bought and sold, which is, I mean, long known about Facebook. So, but ultimately, the move is meant to silence any more skepticism about LO's mission and manifesto. The founders have been called naive or even bad business for thinking that they could take venture capital money without ad revenue or big data sales models, but they've effectively shackled themselves to their principles. They said that LO is a business, and we're here to prove that the internet doesn't have to be one big billboard. There's a better business model, and by becoming a BBC, we're hoping that other people are inspired to follow our example. So, you know, they have a deal here with the investors in the future. They said that they never expected their sudden popularity last month, spurred on by users fleeing Facebook real name policy that just that was just put in. ELO grew much faster than anyone was prepared for. In response, they've crunched their 10-week schedule for rolling out new features in the past 3 weeks and are trying to open up LO to the wide world on the end of the year. You know, so in the meantime, they have new privacy features and they have to figure out a way to handle all their new traffic. They say here that luckily for the ELO team, one of Foundry's Group's big portfolio IPOs was Zynga, a major gaming company whose business rests on in-app purchases, will either build a business with LO that doesn't rely on selling data and advertisers, or will fail. So, regardless...
I'm still mystified how they get $5.5 million in venture capital. That means people are giving them their money in order to profit. And if LO is saying we can't do that, then did they sign?
They are not saying that we can't turn a profit.
Yeah. Well, how are they going to do that?
They're saying that we are not going to be a big data farm, and we are not going to shove ads in people's faces. They're not saying that, you know, they're not saying that we're not going to make money. They're saying that they are going to make money in a different route, and it seems like it's going to be in-app purchases.
Okay. All right.
Which works for a lot of different companies. Maybe not social networks, but in terms of, I know in video games, you know, be it for your phone, for the computer, what have you, in-app purchases, microtransactions, they're very, very lucrative. Very, very lucrative. So if they can find some way to spin that model and use it in a way that, you know, still makes LO free to join, because, you know, if you have a social network that costs money to join straight up or has a subscription, I don't think that's sustainable. People won't join. If there's any kind of paywall, then it's going to fail. So they have to find another way, and personally, I think it's going to be, you know, in-app purchases.
Okay, well, more power to them if they can pull it up. It's interesting because I was aware, you know, in America the for-profit businesses are obligated to act. So in other words, if if you donate to charity, you'll always see, or something like that. Like if you watch PBS, the following program is brought to you by Wells Fargo Bank. And they have the little, so
Yep.
they get publicity. If Wells Fargo gives PBS money and they don't publicize the fact that their stakeholders can sue them, or their shareholders can sue them.
I guess the excuse of, why did you give PBS, $10,000, and you come back and say, I'm the CEO, and I just thought it was, that's just what I wanted to do. I guess I could sue you for that.
Yeah, evidently. Yes, they can. Well, all right. Well, more power to them if they can pull it off.
For anyone out there who has been disillusioned by Facebook or any other social network, maybe MySpace if you still use that, I guess. Ello, ELLO. It is it's still in beta. They're working on it. They said they hope to get it out by the end of the year, but it might be one to keep an eye on, because if it's the fastest growing social network in history, I mean, all you have to do is see where the ceiling is.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Didn't you have a story last night that you wanted to go over?
What was it? I forgot.
You know what? I'm gonna go look for it.
You go look for it. In the meantime, I've been talking about we've had.
Oh, I remember the hoverboards.
Oh yeah, the hoverboards. Okay, well.
We'll do that later.
Okay. I've talked about magnetic induction cooktops. We've actually had General Electric on the show talking about the technology and why it's so slow. I mean, it's really big in Europe and only really making its way into the U.S. and a lot of people just don't know about it. Still today, years afterwards, a magnetic induction cooktop is still a lot of people just don't know about it. I don't know what the resistance is. But basically, it is another way of cooking without heat. I mean, look at the microwave oven. That caught on. Everybody knows about what a microwave oven is. But magnetic induction, it heats far more quickly than conventional or gas. It's literally instantaneous. All it requires is that the cookware that you're using, if a magnet stick to it, so that's pretty much it. And you can boil water in a matter of moments. It's very, very quick.
And it's cool to the touch.
And yet you can literally take the pan off and touch the top of the surface, and it's cool. So anyway, Samsung has come up with another novel thing for their induction cooktop, and they put a Chef's Collection series of high-end kitchen appliances front and center at CES this past January, and the newest addition to the lineup. This is kind of cool. Is that the inductions? It projects a virtual LED flames onto your pot in order to let you know when a burner is on and how hot it is. It's so slick. It literally it projects little blue flames that appear to be blue flames. They're just light. And then the length of the flame shows you how much flame is being applied, and indicating that something is being heated or being cooled. And the flames, they're little projectors. It's like a little ring around the circle, and you
very, very reminiscent of if you've ever used a gas stove.
Gas stove, but it's not gas. I mean, it's just they're just little projected. But I thought it's interesting. It's certainly not necessary. I think it's just another way to indicate, how much heat is being applied.
Well, for anyone who hasn't used it, and I guess people who may be hard of hearing and whatnot, the only real indication that you get that it's on would be, the number and like the little control panel, and also you get like a little buzzing noise of the whatever magic is happening is going on. So I guess a visual, kind of something visual that people can see and look at immediately and know that it's on would be helpful for some.
They've also reduced that buzzing noise. We had one of the first generation. Some of the newer ones, you don't even really hear the buzz anymore. For the most part. And of course, if you don't have anything on there, it just won't heat. It only heats when you put an induction or a magnetic pot or pan on top of the surface. But I just thought it was really cool looking. They have those little blue flames. Still expensive. This is going to sell for $3,700 for the cooktop. You know, and they're still kind of costly.
3,700.
Yeah, $3,700 for it. It's still costly. Still interesting.
I think firewood's about $3 a pound.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't heat as fast.
Well, not with that attitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what's this about Uber?
Actually, not even that one. We're gonna do one about. I know normally Craig does the Apple stories, but I actually like the sound of this one. So,
Okay.
Apple just passed a massive milestone.
Yeah, what milestone was that?
The news of its massive quarter has finally settled in. It took a few days, but Apple's blowout quarterly earnings report, driven by strong iPhone and Mac sales and bolstered by the largest stock repurchase program in the history of capitalism, has finally made its way through Wall Street algorithms and into Apple's share prices.
Wow.
The stock closed today at $104.83, up 1.8% for the day, 7.2% for the week, and 50% from April of last year.
Wow.
Where it dipped down into the high 300s. Poor babies. Speculators who bought a lot of calls in September 2012 when Apple was approaching an industry high of $705, which is about $100 post-split, will never get their money back. But investors who held onto their shares through the rest of 2012 and 2013 are back in the green. Apple is now not only the world's most valuable public company, but it has left the nearest contenders in the dust.
Wow.
The top four market caps, Apple with $617.9 billion. That's not bad just for stock prices. Exxon with $401.4 billion. Microsoft, their big contender, $371 billion.
Wow.
Google coming in, rounding out the four at $369 billion. So actually, it looks like Google's catching up to Microsoft. That's pretty interesting.
Wow.
But yeah, that's about it. Apple has rebounded from their woes of Steve Jobs passing, and the passing of the torch and finding themselves and whatnot. So regardless of what you think of Apple, they know how to make money.
Yes, they do.
Because they are the largest company currently on Wall Street.
Wow. Who'd have thunk it from little Apple too?
I know the little Apple with the board and the geeks and the nerds and the crazy.
Yeah. Well, despite what you say, they make some really great products. I
never said they didn't. I said they were overpriced.
Well,
which actually the stock prices kind of collaborate with that. So.
Well, because they make high quality products and
they know how to make money. I'll give you that.
I mean, let's say when you buy a Mercedes or a BMW, you buy a top of the line car, you're gonna spend more, but it's a high quality product. Why shouldn't the world of computing have?
Because I don't know how to build a car, but I know how to build a computer, and I know how to build one that is equal to an Apple for less.
But is it truly equal?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
All right. If you say so.
If you say so. So congratulations to Apple.
Yes.
They've made a lot of money.
Yes, they have. So let's do a short one here. This is a quick story. This is from Maximum PC. AOC rolls out a 17-inch USB companion monitor. Pair with your desktop or laptop. If you rock a dual display setup at home, it can be difficult to adjust the single panel setup of your laptop when out and about on a business trip. The solution? One way to restore that dual display goodness is with AOC's 17-inch USB monitor powered by a built-in display link technology. This newest model from AOC is thinner, lighter, and larger than the company's previous USB offerings. There's no power cord or VGA cable to muck around with. You just plug the panel into a USB 3.0 port, and you're good to go. It comes with a foldable stand that goes from landscape to portrait mode with auto pivot along with the carrying case, since one of the most likely uses is as a travel companion to your laptop. And once connected to your laptop or desktop, the integrated display link graphics allow it to function as a secondary display. The specs are decent, though not outstanding. It boasts a 1600 by 900 resolution rather than full HD 1080p. It also has a 10 millisecond rated response time, a 650 to 1 contrast ratio. It's got a good brightness level, 90 degrees horizontal, 65 degrees vertical viewing angles. And if you want a more permanent placement for this panel, it's VESA wall mount compliant. It's wall mount compliant with the VESA standard, so you can put it up on the wall. It's the 17-inch USB monitor from AOC is available now and costs. What do you think, Ben?
The 17-inch monitor with all those specs?
Yeah.
$300.
$200.
Not bad.
Not bad. There you go. Okay.
I'm actually in the market for a second monitor.
Yeah. Well, this might be it. No, do you have USB 3.0 on your computer?
I do indeed.
Then you could use this. And it doesn't require power. Very nice.
Yep. It's for anyone out there who has never known the bliss, the joy, the true exuberance of having a dual monitor setup.
Mm-hmm.
It's an experience unto itself, and unfortunately, I do not have one. I used to have one, and I miss it dearly. So
really,
yeah, a second monitor, much desired.
Yeah, and especially for gaming. You like it for gaming, right?
Well, I mean, gaming. It's not so much that it makes the gaming experience better. It's just that you could have one thing on one monitor, and then you could do everything else on the other. So like I could have a video game up, on the primary monitor, and then I could have my music, my Facebook, my email, all my notification stuff up on the other monitor. So you don't ever have to switch off. You can kind of just look around.
Yeah, that's right. So you have two different monitors displaying different information, which is rather than making an extension of one monitor. As you move off to the right of the screen, it appears on the left of the other monitor. That type of thing.
Yeah, no, it would just be for.
Now, a lot of the games that you play will allow you to configure your monitors like that as a secondary information monitor?
I mean, it's mostly done through the operating system. It's not done through the games. The games have a setting in them, and when video games doesn't know this, it's usually called borderless full screen.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, full screen windowed mode.
Okay.
Which you would fill up your entire screen, make it look like normal, except when wherever your second monitor is set up, be it to the left, to the right, wherever virtually it's set up, if you scroll off the screen that way, it will actually, the mouse will keep going onto the other screen.
But that's how you would use it, or would you use it just for secondary information?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. Hey, you're listening to Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. You're listening to Computer America. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
And enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MyTV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MyTV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV.
You were expecting me, of course. It's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the V-Alert. That's V.ALRT. The V-Alert VSN 400A Emergency Alert. On the black disc, it's about the size of a small York peppermint patty and seems passive. One of the faces is a push button, and inside, Bluetooth is powered by a 2032 coin cell. Unscrew the case, halves to replace it. It comes with a wristband and a small rubber belt band with a loop, so there are many options for carrying or wearing it. The V-Alert Personal Emergency Alert Device, VSN400A, gets paired with your Android or iOS smartphone, and you alerts can go to up to 3 contacts, sending the message you create and linked to a map of your location. You can let it detect a fall, then automatically send an alert 60 seconds later, giving you time to cancel it if it was an oops and not an ouch. A long squeeze manually triggers an alert. You get notified if you're on your in range. There's a mode that makes the disk beep and flash to help you find it. The application and disk can be separately silenced with separate control over sounds and lights. Bottom line, if there is any danger of getting into trouble where the right people knowing it can get you out, a V-Alert VSN 400A personal emergency alert device can be an effective and nimble ally. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33, 34, somewhere around there. Minutes past the hour. We're doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. And yeah, we're doing tech stories from all over the internet, wherever I find them, wherever they may be. And is it your turn or my turn?
Your turn.
My turn. Okay. So, you know, we talked about Apple and how they're doing so well, and they're doing so, you know, they have so much money. So why not talk about Microsoft and how they're doing? Guess.
Yes.
Guess.
Yes.
No, guess.
Oh,
Guess.
Oh.
And how they're doing.
Well, they compared them to Apple, and they weren't doing as well as Apple is.
Microsoft is doing great.
And they are? Okay.
And so are Surface Pro 3 and Office 365.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so Microsoft is doing just fine as well. This one from Engadget, though. The last one was from Time. And, you know, the cloud has been a solid source of income for Microsoft in recent times, while the company is still in the middle of a huge transition. The future is looking bright under recently appointed CEO Satya Nadella.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft released its earnings report for the first fiscal 2015 quarter, and the main takeaway being the growth of its devices and consumer revenue by 47% to $10.96 billion, bringing the total to $23.20 billion in overall revenue, a 25% increase compared to the same period last year. In other words, business is superb over in Redmond.
All right.
That's great. Like, it always gets me. Microsoft is huge.
I'm glad to hear.
I mean, if you want to talk technology and you want to talk the biggest company in it, most of the time it's Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
They're huge, and the fact that they can still pull off transitions, restructurings, whatever, you know, new CEOs, and just kind of not turn on a dime, but, you know, kind of change the way that they're performing, and do it so rapidly and suddenly, it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, Jonathan in the chat room says that 50% of all stats are made up. So Oh, I don't know.
These aren't exactly stats, though. These are
Hard numbers.
reports.
They're the hard numbers. They're
Yeah,
dollars.
so it's not, so 47%. When we say percents, we're talking about the revenue of last year was X amount. The revenue of this year was Y amount. So 47%. So part of the reason for how successful its productivity suite, Office 365, has been, there are now over 7 million subscribers to the home and personal software. What's Microsoft revealed?
They've always said we've had Microsoft on the show a number of times, and we're talking about Windows, but they've always said their cash cow, their bread and butter, is not the Windows operating system; it's their Office product, and this just continues to solidify that.
Yep. So it's and their newest product, Office 365, isn't quite like any of their previous Office suites, because previously you had Microsoft Office 2014 or. No, 2013, 2009, or 2008. You had those kind of things, which you bought it once, you paid $300 to $500, whatever it was, and then you get the full suite. This one is you pay a monthly subscription, which is why they said that they have 7 million subscribers, and you get the access to everything that is and it's based in the cloud. So everything is already latest, greatest, up to date.
Right.
No one's using an old version of Office 365 because there's only one version of it.
Right.
And now with 7 million, they said that so 7 million subscribers, people are loving it, people are buying it, and that the Surface Pro 3, which is their newest tablet, think the iPad enemy, is currently at 908 million.
Okay.
With overall revenue, but you kind of got to figure that $400 million of that went to the NFL, who still calls them iPads. So nearly doubling the amount of the previous quarter. Meanwhile, 2.4 million Xbox units were sold during the last term. So even though they didn't say if it was Xbox One or 360, but leave that to the imagination. Beyond that, its smartphone efforts continue to be on the rise, saying that the phone hardware business totaled $2.6 billion and 9.3 million Lumias were sold. I thought it'd be less, which is even better. Which is an even better figure than the record 8.8 million sales reported within the same time frame last year. So even though Microsoft profits went down 4.3 billion during the quarter, in comparison to 5.2 from the same quarter last year, the company said during today's conference call that it is rather confident about the outlook of both its enterprise and consumer segments. And if these recent figures are any indication, it very well should be. So, they're not making as much as I think people are projecting them to. And during their heyday, they're still well below what they should be making in their heyday. But going from like 15 million in profit to 23 million in profit, or 23 billion in profit, Microsoft is in no danger of going under. They're doing.
Well, I wasn't worried about them.
And we usually have guests on. They're like, Microsoft's doing it wrong. Microsoft is going down the hill. Microsoft is in a lot of trouble. Microsoft, and there's a lot of Microsoft is doing the wrong thing. Well, it looks like they're finally turning it around. Their smartphones are doing well. Their tablets are doing great. Their Office suite is still making money in a completely different business model than previous, and its software is always going to do great because it still holds 90% of the market. So Microsoft is going strong.
Doing well. Okay, and I'm glad to hear it.
Much to the chagrin of every Linux listener that we have.
We had Bitcasa on the show, did we not? Basically, we did. This is the company that had its unlimited cloud storage. Remember them, Bitcasa? Yep. Well, according to Engadget, Bitcasa is dropping its unlimited cloud storage due to underuse and abuse.
How could they?
Yes. Well, the story goes on from Engadget. If you were thinking of milking Bitcasa's unlimited cloud storage for all it's worth, you'd better have an alternative lined up. The company is dropping its signature infinite storage option after November the 15th in tandem with an upgrade to a new infrastructure. You'll have to migrate to a limited tier, such as the new 10 terabyte $999 a year Pro plan. That's $999 evidently Pro plan. If you want to keep all your content. Why the sudden clampdown? Well, according to Bitcasa, you probably weren't using it. Only 0.1% of its accounts chewed through more than 10 terabytes. Okay. Moreover, some of those that are consuming that much space are reportedly abusing it at a level which seems impossible for any one person. The company hasn't elaborated on what these no-goodniks are doing beyond violating the terms of service, but it's easy to see a company trying to use Bitcasa as a makeshift storage server. Okay. While it makes sense for Bitcasa to cut little used services that cost a lot of money to run, the transition risks rubbing a lot of infinite subscribers the wrong way. In addition to forcing users to cut back on cloud storage, there aren't any planned refunds for customers who want to stay. If you just paid for a year's worth of unlimited capacity, you're probably going to feel shortchanged. It won't be surprising if the company eventually extends an olive branch, but this still means that you'll have to drop dreams of storing all your digital belongings online. What do you think?
What do I think? It makes sense. I mean, if 0.1% of people were going through more than 10 terabytes, and they're offering 10 terabytes for what I'm assuming is a comparable price to their unlimited storage option, then, I mean, most people shouldn't be mad. They may not feel as special because they don't, they can no longer say, I have unlimited, when they're still only using like three terabytes. But it sounds like the people who ruined the fun were people who kind of were taking advantage of the situation. They must have paid for the unlimited, and then they were, just like they said, they were running, data servers off of.
They were running a business off of their business, saying, "Hey, we'll sell you, 5 terabytes of storage for $500, whatever it's going to be, for a year." And it's not costing them anything because it's just a Bitcasa account.
So it appears that they kind of ruined it for everyone.
Isn't it always that way? You just got a few people who ruin it for the vast majority.
But I mean, you have to plan for that, though.
How do you plan for that?
You plan for it by never, or at least having a business model that cannot be taken advantage of. Like, I've never really heard Google, getting taken advantage of. And of course, it was against their term, end user license agreement or what have you. But they didn't want to, spend all their time going around squashing these new profiles that would, just be taking advantage of them over and over and over again. So instead, they changed their business model and off they go. I think they're still, they didn't trick anyone. They're not bait and switching. They're not lying. They're just trying to, bring their data costs back into line with what they, thought it would be.
So then what makes them stand out? Why would someone want to go with Bitcasa than not some other data service if they're going to be the same?
If someone's already tied into the ecosystem, I can see people not switching.
That was their whole shtick, if you will. They said, we can give you unlimited data storage, for $9.99 a year, whatever it was, and you can use all the internet, all the storage you can eat. That was their attraction. They're dropping that.
That was their attraction, but they said for one user.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but how are they going to attract users now?
I mean, by being competitive, by having a good experience, by doing, everything else. When they tried to stand out, they offered something that people obviously were going to take advantage of. So now they have to be competitive and not just unique.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, there it is. So if you're a Bitcasa user, and basically it's going to go away on the 15th of November, and you're going to pay for it like everybody else is paying for it.
Yep. And I mean, if you're already tied into it and you're nowhere near your 10 terabytes, you probably won't see that much effect.
Okay. All right.
All right, this next story from Popular Science, one of my favorite websites, and this is about the Google self-driving car and what it would mean to have autonomous cars. What are some of the ways that they're going to change our lives?
Unexpected ways, maybe.
Unexpected ways. So in the future, we may not be dealing with the hassles and frustrations that come with driving cars every day. Autonomous automobiles can make our lives even better. But are cars that drive themselves all that it's cracked up to be? The advertising agency Sparks and Honey has compiled a mess of data and research on autonomous cars into a report called "Driving Disrupted: Driverless Cars Change
Hold on.
Everything."
We got dropped again, so let's. We're still fine on Google Hangouts, but that's the second got dropped. So now we're gonna go back to Blog Talk Radio and see if we can get back with them. There
It appears that the host has already dialed into this show.
Yep.
Only one host.
Okay, well that won't work. So let me try the other one, and then we'll continue on. Let's see if we can go back here. All right.
Since it appears
There
you're
we go.
calling back into a live show, we are
right.
reconnecting you now.
All right. So continue. We're talking about the Google driverless car. Go on.
We're not talking specifically about Google self-driving car. We're talking about autonomous cars in general.
Okay.
And they put in, and the advertising agency Sparks and Honey just released a lot of data and research that showed that autonomous cars, what they're going to do. So besides the obvious things such as being safer for travel and freeing up time for other pursuits, there are some other surprising things that will emerge in the world with intelligent cars.
Mm-hmm.
First one, car sharing. Pointing to an MIT study, the report states that whole cities could adopt a car sharing program, not unlike bike sharing, which may make car ownership obsolete.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What do you think? We're going to talk about each one of these, so
Let me
you
think.
ready?
Let me think about this. Sort of like carpooling, but without a driver.
Not quite.
How is it different?
It's going to make car ownership obsolete. It's you pull out an app, you call a number, you say, I need a car, pick me up at my house, and drop me off at the grocery store.
So it's like a glorified taxi.
And so it comes up, scoops you up, takes you where you need to go, drops you off, and then that particular car that you just called, it goes off and fritters away. It goes away. Then you do your thing. You call for another car, picks you up at your house.
It's a taxi cab service.
Picks you up at your grocery store, drops you off at your house, and then it fritters away again. You are just using a series of cars that you do not own or upkeep or maintain.
It's a taxi cab service with driverless, basically. Yes.
No, because you're not hiring a taxi driver. You're not dealing with anyone in particular. It's just there's going to be a series of cars that can, it's going to be a pool of cars that you can use.
It's a taxi service without a driver. When you call for a cab, you're not calling for a guy. The guy has to be there because he's driving the car, but you want the vehicle. That's the thing of value, not the driver.
But here's the thing. Who owns the taxi?
The taxi cab company.
Okay, well, in this one, the city would own it.
So it would be public transportation, so like a bus.
Yes.
Okay.
It'd be a personal little bus.
A personal little bus. Okay, well.
So, which, again, states the obvious. Now, whether that would be true or at least immediately feasible, you can kind of throw it, because what if you wanted to take your car out of the city, out of the country, drive it around?
Well, obviously going to be limitations.
Obviously, either you'd have to go to another service that would let your cars, you would have to go to another service that would let you use cars for out of city, out of state, out of country. But I think in the city, there's going to be one service.
Now you're talking like an Avis or a Hertz. So that Avis and Hertz will have self-driving cars, and you rent them like anything else, except you don't have to drive them. That's all that would be. And the city that would have self-driving cars instead of, what does a bus cost? A bus costs about $100,000 for a bus.
It has to be more than that.
Well, maybe more than that. Maybe $200,000 for a bus. So how many of these self-driving cars could you buy in lieu of a bus?
Probably a lot.
Yeah. So maybe that might be it might be an answer to public transportation.
And by the way, buses, depending on where you're buying it, are anywhere from about $400,000 to $700,000.
All right. So, and they use a lot of gas too. So.
Yep. So, yeah, assuming everyone in the city would opt into some kind of system, you know, the maintenance and all that kind of thing would be taken up by a company or the city, and you know, gas would be taken care of and all that kind of thing. You know, there'd just be some poor guy who has to sit there and fill up autonomous cars' gas tanks all day.
Maybe it'll be electrical. Why do they have to be gas? Maybe these autonomous cars will be electrical.
Or even electrical. And but yeah, so it may make car ownership obsolete. So that's one way could disrupt the future. Another one would be entertainment on the go. So beyond having extra time to work or read or do other hobbies, the report imagines autonomous cars as a place where the owner entertains a group of friends or colleagues, almost like a moving bar. And who knows where such drunkenness and debauchery will go. ...
Well, you know, you wouldn't have to have a designated driver with this.
Very true.
You could go to and from wherever you want and not have to worry about getting a DUI conviction.
This would be, although this is separate from the first point, because this would be if you owned your own car. You could set up your own private, you know, bar car and entertain friends and have it drive you where you need to go, and in the meantime treat it like a bar. So, you know, that would be another use for autonomous cars. They have here is vehicles of vice.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds just like what it means. So, and that means that bar-like autonomous cars could become the go-to place for illicit activities. Whether it's casual or drug use, the privacy and luxury of such cars could bring a spike in such activities.
Okay.
So another one will need a new source of municipal income, obviously. With fewer traffic violations, cities and towns will have to find new ways to ticket its citizens to earn revenue, or the penalties for existing violations will become more harsh. So you may want to reconsider your stance on jaywalking.
That become a prisonable offense, you know.
Well, they don't want to put you in prison. They want to make money. And it's proven that the last big thing to cause an uproar were traffic cams and how awful they were. And even though people hate them, you know, a lot of times they were wrong or they were just very, very sensitive, they made a lot of money. Traffic cams make, you know, whatever city put them in, they make them a lot of money. So if you have nothing but autonomous cars that are programmed to follow the rules and be safe, I mean, that's a lot of revenue that the city's missing out on. So they have to make that up somewhere else, you know, to pay for roads and the like. So where that comes in, either a new tax or, you know, upping existing taxes, you don't know.
I like this last one.
And the last one is we'll need a new source of organs. That's scary. So whether it's through growing them in labs or through a form of 3D printing, according to the report, artificial organs for healthcare will be in high demand because less traffic accidents means fewer natural organ donations. Which is true, because most organ donors unfortunately get to exercise their, you know, the little sticker that they get because of some sort of traffic accident.
And they're killed, and then because they're killed, you get a heart or a lung or whatever it is.
They're killed. They're in a coma. Their brain, you know, their spinal cord was severed, something along those lines, and then they get to harvest the organs and, you know, piece them out to people who need them, and you know, fewer traffic accidents, fewer deaths, fewer organ donors.
So if you're a traffic cop and you pull a car over because you think it's speeding and it's a self-driving car, who gets the ticket?
Why do you think it's speeding?
I don't know.
Is it speeding?
I don't know.
Why would the cop pull it over if it's not speeding?
Well, he thinks it's speeding, and then he realizes...
He thinks it's speeding?
Yeah.
I don't think cops are allowed to think you're speeding. I think they have to...
Well, the speed traps, you know, like that notorious place in Florida where they were just giving out speeding tickets.
I think they have to tag you with a thing and mark you and say, you know, X and X car is going 63 and a 45. I'm going to pull him over. I don't think they can say, I think he's speeding. I don't think that's how cops work.
Okay, well... By the way, I think they
Are you
shut.
saying that the self-driving car is speeding?
No, but the cop might claim it was speeding. And who's the judge going to believe?
Hopefully the data readout from the self-driving car, because it's going to keep a track of that.
Well, I think the moment the cop pulls him over and realizes it's a self-driving car, he's going to say, "Hey, have a nice day," because it's not your fault. The driver's not speeding. It's a self-driving car that he thought.
Well, I mean, if the car is legitimately speeding,
no, but it wouldn't be.
It's a self-driving car.
Yeah.
Then yes, someone gets a ticket. But if it's a self-driving car and it knows the rules of the road, it's not going to speed.
Yeah.
The self-driving car does not need to get anywhere faster. The self-driving car is not late for a meeting. The self-driving car is just programmed to go the speed limit, obey the rules, and get you there safely.
Yeah, there it is. I'm looking at a picture of it. They got everything. They have it all in the car, but they have one wire on the outside. Why would you have that one wire? Can't you build it in so it cosmetically looks nice?
That's the Google self-driving car, and that is a bunch of built-on, because the base of the car is your average everyday Prius, and then they added on about $250,000 worth of equipment to make it a self-driving Google car.
Yeah, I think the thing on the roof.
So that's all aftermarket. It's not like they built a car from the ground up and then they added the wire outside.
But they're eventually going to do that, though, right? So there'll be no.
Eventually.
Yeah, on the outside, it'll all be self-contained, and you won't have that big thing on the roof either.
The big thing on the roof is actually kind of what makes self-driving cars work right now. Anyone who's seen a Google self-driving car is actually a sophisticated radar system that 3D, that kind of maps the entire area around the car. That it targets bikers, pedestrians, other cars. So that $250,000 piece of equipment is what makes it work.
They're gonna have to make it aesthetically more pleasing. They just can't have.
Either that, or find some way to do without it. And if that's either more connected cars or another type of sensor, but right now that thing is way too cost prohibitive, which is why we don't have it right now, and it's kind of out in the open.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that about wraps up the show. I think on our stories. Again, thanks to Limitless Computing for being here on the program and talking about the augmented reality. We had the co-owner of it, Jeffrey Franklin. Again, thanks for being here on the program. Tomorrow, we're going to have Allure Technology. And they make a product called EverSense, and basically it's a thermostat, but it's far more complex than this. The Nest. I mean,
60 seconds.
It turns any home into a smart home. You can stream music, photos, and video. You can control climate, lights, electronics, and more, all from this affordable, energy-saving thermostat hub. It's going to be it's really incredible, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow night. And then in hour 2. More computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. That about wraps it up.
All right.
Okay. So Ben and I will see you tomorrow night, and hopefully you'll be here with us. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching. We enjoyed your company, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. It's Friday. So we look forward to it. And, of course, the last day of the contest, too, our big Logitech contest. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Have a good one.
Good night, everyone.